biological processes in human body. Okay, take down topic. Biological processes in human body. Okay, so we have to know, we have to learn systems of human body. You know that order and organization of the body, starting from non-living things, atoms, element atoms, simple molecules, simple molecules. Yes, simple molecules like carbon dioxide, water, like simple molecules combined together to form complex molecules. Complex molecules like glucose, carbohydrate, large number of glucose molecules combined together to form starch, glycogen, like that. Lipids, proteins, right? So they are complex molecules. So these complex molecules, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, so they combine together to form that's organelles. Organelles. So these cell organelles combine together to form the living cell. Yes, different or same types of cells with the same origin and specified to perform a certain function or functions. So they make a tissue. So different tissues specified to perform a certain function or functions, they make organs. So these organs combine together to form that organ systems. Organ systems. So this is how this biological process in human body is performing. So that's sharing labor. Labor is sharing. කටයුතු බෙදාගෙන තමයි කරන්නේ. So here can we come across that organ systems. So what are the systems you know? Digestive system. That's for the food digestion. Then circulatory system. Part of that you learn in grade 9. Respiratory system. And you have to learn next nervous system. Nervous system. And nitrogenous excretory system, urinary system. Urinary system. So associated with the circulatory system, you have to learn that lymphatic system. Vasapaddhati. So another two systems you learn in grade 10. Reproductive system you learned, right? Now we are going to study a digestive system. Okay, now under the takedown, according to the order and organization of the body, okay, write the note. According to the order and organization of the body, order and organization of the body, multicellular organisms multicellular organisms, major biological processes, major biological processes show sharing of labor, show sharing of labor. Sharing of labor means srama vibhajane. Different systems are specified. Different systems are specified. Systems are specified. Systems are specified to perform. Systems are specified to perform different functions of the body. Different functions of the body. Okay, now take down the subtopic, human digestive system. Human digestive system. Human digestive system. Okay, so what does it mean by food digestion? Okay, so what we consume is complex foods. So digestion means the conversion of complex foods to simple foods that are available for the absorption. Complex foods cannot be absorbed into body. Okay, so they have to be converted into simple foods. Complex foods have to be converted. Complex foods have to be converted into complex foods have to be converted into simple compounds for the or simple compound simple forms for the absorption. Complex foods have to be converted into simple compounds for the absorption. This digestion is of two types. Complex foods have to be converted into simple compounds for the absorption. So this conversion of complex foods into simple foods is known as the digestion. This process is known as this process of the conversion of complex foods into simple foods is known as the digestion. So that's known as the digestion. Digestion. Okay, digestion is of two types. What are the two types of digestion?
Chemical digestion and mechanical digestion.
Yes, digestion is of two types. Mechanical digestion and next type is chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion and chemical digestion. Mechanical digestion is performed by chewing, that means by your teeth, action of teeth, especially by canine teeth. You use that for the separation of foods from its that's flesh of animals. And molar and premolar teeth, so that's used for grinding into fine textured food particles. Another thing is peristaltic movement that is performed by the muscles in your digestive tract. Again, that's mechanical digestion is performed, especially in stomach. Your food is converted into a semi-solid paste with the action of these muscles, peristaltic movement. Some of students think that peristaltic movement can be seen only in esophagus, as you learn in grade 7. But along with the digestive tract, your guts, that's gut movements. Gut movements means that peristaltic movements can be seen. Muscles වලින් තමයි peristaltic movements in by teeth and peristaltic movement by muscles. So what's the special muscle that exists in your digestive system, digestive tract? There are 3 types of muscles. You learned that in tissues lesson. Cardiac muscles, smooth muscles, skeletal muscles. Out of them, that smooth muscles exist. Smooth muscles that rhythmically that contractions are performed. So the peristaltic movements are also that rhythmic movements that help to push the food pellets along with the gut. The chemical digestion is performed by water-soluble protein performed by the water-soluble protein water-soluble protein enzymes. All right. So mechanical digestion, chemical digestion. Okay. Next, you have to know the anatomy of this digestive system. So that's anatomical parts. There's tongue and the epiglottis exist here. Here's the respiratory tract. You can see that cartilage rings, trachea. Behind that, you can see the esophagus, right? There's a cavity here that's, and hard plate and soft plate of this. So here comes the pharynx. And now you can see this esophagus is long. It goes to the thoracic cavity, and abdominal cavity opens. So this is a diaphragm. So lungs exist both sides. So in this abdominal cavity, you can see a sac-like structure, muscular structure. So we call that stomach. You can see this a C-shaped structure. This is starting position of the small intestine. We call that duodenum. And here you can see a duct. This duct is coming from this pancreas. Capsicum. And you can see another structure here. What? The liver. Liver exists here. So main functions of, there are around 50 like functions. Summoning functions 50ක් විතර තියෙනවා මේ liver එකේ. And the main function is producing that bile and storage in food, detoxification, විෂහරණය. So produced bile is temporarily stored in this gallbladder, and this bile is transported to the bile duct, and both bile duct and pancreatic duct combine together, and it's open to this duodenum, right? So this is esophagus. Pharynx. So this is a lid that avoids the insertion of food pellets into the trachea, the respiratory tract. So that's epiglottis. So this is stomach, pancreas, liver, so this is duodenum. The small intestine starts and it's highly convoluted. When the baby carried somewhat longer than large intestine. So this is opened here, and there's a finger-like projection as well, finger-like projection. We call that appendix. Now, large intestine starts. So these are the components. Parts of this intestines, duodenum, jejunum, ileum, cecum. But those terms, we don't claim that, we don't name it, right? So this small intestine, this is large intestine. All the components of the digestive system. So this is the rectum, anus. So this is appendix. So this is gallbladder, where the produced bile is temporarily stored. Gallbladder. So this is pancreatic duct and bile duct. pancreatic duct. duct එකක් කියන්නේ secretion එකක් අරන් එන tube එකක් ප්‍රනාලයක්. The pancreatic duct. So this is bile duct. පිත්ත ප්‍රනාලය, bile duct. Right. So next we have to learn, so what happens to the food when you intake from this mouth cavity, right? So how it is digested in each of the parts of this digestive system. So either chemical or mechanical digestion, we have to know that, right? Digestion at each parts of the digestive tract. ආහාර මාර්ගයේ එක් එක් කොටස් වලදී සිදුවන digestion එක. Okay, now take down. So first we have to learn the digestion of foods in mouth cavity. Digestion in mouth cavity. Right. Mechanical digestion occurs by teeth as well as chemical digestion too occurs. Both digestions take place. හැම ආකාරයකම digestion සිද්ධ වෙනවා. Okay, so let's see. In mouth cavities, you know that saliva contains a special enzyme called amylase, right? The starch digestion takes place here. Digestion of starch starts. Yes, how it starts? The enzyme called ptyalin or amylase act on starch and it is converted into maltose. Malt sugars, you know that maltose is a disaccharide. So you can experience that if you keep rice on your mouth, inside your mouth, you can, on your tongue, you can feel a sweet taste. That's malt sugar, right? This malt sugar is created by the amylase when it hydrolyzes starch into maltose. So that's only a chemical digestion that can be seen in mouth cavity. Instead of that, the mechanical digestion can be seen by that's performed by teeth. Right. So that's all about uh, the things happen in mouth cavity. Next one in esophagus. Actually, no digestion occurs in esophagus. It just transfer food pellets from mouth cavity to um, stomach. Right. So next we have to learn the digestion in stomach. Digestion in stomach. Both mechanical and chemical digestion occurs. Mechanical digestion by peristaltic movements. Food is converted into a semi-solid paste. Food is converted into semi-solid paste. ආහාරය අර්ධ ඝන තලපයක්, paste එකක්. So we call that what? Chyme. Stomach. Yes, and walls of the stomach consists of glands. So hydrochloric acid is oozing out from those glands, HCl acid. And if you draw that longitudinal section of the stomach, you can see. So it's a wall of the stomach. And there's a mucosa layer mucus to avoid the burning of epithelium because hydrochloric acid is oozing out. So this is mucus layer. Wall. This wall is muscular. Muscle movements perform current, plate can perform muscular movements. Splinters can be seen here. So they are closed. When you vomit, it's only this splinter is opened. Right. Food is converted into semi-solid paste called chyme. Next, chemical digestion is performed by the enzyme pepsin. Enzyme pepsin. Pepsin. So what's the function of this pepsin? Pepsin activates in acidic medium. That's why this stomach secrete hydrochloric acid. So what's the substrate on which this pepsin activate? So that's protein. But protein is not completely digested. So over this protein, that enzyme pepsin activate. So protein is digested into polypeptides. Polypeptide. That's a polypeptide chain. Polypeptide chain means amino acid chain. So digestion is not completed. Rest of the digestion of this polypeptide is performed in a small intestine. මෙයාවයි amino acid වලට protein හැදෙන්නේ amino acid වලින්නේ. So this protein is digested up to the final, that means a monomer of protein, that's amino acid, that happens in a small intestine with the activation of peptidase enzyme. Therefore, we have to stop here in stomach. So next, what happens? So that's a partial digestion of protein. So this thing happens in stomach. Next, we have to know what happened in this duodenum, right? Okay, take down. So you have to keep these enzymatic reactions, right? Changes in duodenum. Changes in duodenum. Right. So you have to write two secretions open to duodenum. So that's combined two ducts. Combined two ducts are open to duodenum. What are they? So that's pancreatic duct and bile duct. They are pancreatic duct and pancreatic duct and bile duct. So that's two secretory organ, pancreas. Three enzymes are produced by the secretory organ pancreas. The secretory organ එක pancreas එකකින් that's here. It make three enzymes. So what are they? You find it very easy to keep in mind. So what's the first enzyme you come across in mouth cavity? That's amylase. The same amylase is produced by pancreas because almost all the starch cannot be converted into maltose in mouth cavity. හැමෝම කටේ තියෙන හැමතිස්සෙම හප ඉන්නේ නෑනේ. තව තව හුඟක් ಜಾති තියෙනවා, right? So you swallow it. The rest of the operation happens in the duodenum. So amylase comes again. Amylase. Next. Secondly, so you come across another enzyme, pepsin. What it performs? Pepsin converts protein into polypeptide. The same thing is done by trypsin. අපිට pancreas can produce කරන ඒ වැඩේම කරන කෙනෙක් හම්බ වෙනවා. So what's that? Trypsin. Yes, next one. Now, starch, that means carbohydrate, by trypsin, protein. There's another major nutrient, that's lipids. So these lipids are digested by lipase. Lipase. So these are the three enzymes secreted by pancreas, right? So what's the importance of this liver? So it produces bile. Bile is secreted, temporarily stored in gallbladder. As bile is transported to this pancreas, pancreatic duct, and finally to this duodenum. Okay, now let's study the action of them. So what's the function of amylase? You already know that. Starch is converted into maltose with the action of that amylase. So you have to keep them in your mind. අමතක කරන්න බෑ. Trypsin, you know that. Protein, you earlier learned in stomach. Protein is converted into polypeptide. Protein is converted into polypeptide. Here, enzyme is earlier tryptophan with HCl, but here, trypsin. That's trypsin. Lipase, yes, that act on lipids. Yes, you know that lipids are made up of fatty acids and glycerols. Fatty acids and glycerols. So you have to keep these enzymatic reactions in your mind. So these things happen, this starting part of the small intestine, we call them duodenum. Okay, did you take them down?
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. Next, when you study these digestions, actually, no need to cram everything. හැමදේම කටපාඩම් කරන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. You can get them logically. Look at this. Now, what are the major nutrients in food? Carbohydrate. Carbohydrates. Lipids. Protein. Now, carbohydrates, so their monomers are monosaccharides, glucose, fructose, galactose. Now, it has stopped only in maltose, that's a disaccharide. Maltose වලින් නතර වෙලා දැන්. තව ඉවට digest කරගන්න තියෙනවා. So we have to convert this maltose into glucose. Right? We need another enzyme. Lipids completely digested here. පුතා මේ lipids නිකම්ම digest වෙන්නේ නෑ, right? So it has to be, because lipids are not water soluble. Therefore, emulsification have to be done, right? For these lipids have to be emulsified. That emulsification is done by bile, right? So lipids must be converted into emulsified lipid. Actually, then only it can be converted into fatty acids and glycerols. So how to do this emulsification? So that's done by bile. Bile වලින් කරන්නේ මේ මේදය, ඔයාලා දන්නවනේ තෙල් කියලා හිතන්න, oil. It is converted into small droplets. මේ ලොකු බෝල නෙමෙයි, හරි? ලොකු oil drops නෙමෙයි. So that's microscopic oil droplets. Then lipase can work on that. Lipase වලට පුළුවන් ඊට පස්සේ ඒ මත ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන්න. Right, okay, let's see that. පුතා මෙතන දාන්න emulsified lipid කියලා, right? Emulsified lipid, right? So this emulsified lipid is lipid converts into emulsified lipids by the bile. So that's emulsified lipids is subjected to the further hydrolysis by the enzyme lipase. Okay. The lipids completely digested, proteins that's partially digested, polypeptides. Polypeptide වලින් අතර වෙලා. It's polypeptide. දැන් අපි සීනි කනවනේ. Wheat sugar. Sugar means another disaccharide, sucrose. Sucrose උත් තව තියෙනවා digest කරන්න. Right? Another one, another carbohydrate, the lactose sugar. අපි කිරිවල තියෙනවා lactose. Lactose, another disaccharide. So they have to be digested. ඔච්චරයි තව ඉතුරු වෙලා තියෙන්නේ. මෙන්න මේවා digest කරගන්න මොනවද තියෙන්න ඕන. Look at this. Maltose have to be digested by maltase. Maltase enzyme. ඔන්න අපිට අවශ්‍යයි maltase enzyme. We require maltase. Lipids, okay. Protein digested up to polypeptide. ඒකට ඕන peptidase. Polypeptide have to be digested by peptidase. Sucrose have to be digested by sucrase. Lactose have to be digested by lactase. So these four enzymes are secreted by the small intestine. Okay. Now take down digestion in small intestine. Digestion in small intestine. Right. Okay. Next, we are going to study digestion in small intestine. So these enzymes are in action. Very easy. So maltase act on what? Okay, now take down. In a small intestine, rest of the digestion happens. Rest of the digestion occurs. Maltose is digested by maltase. So what's produced? Glucose plus glucose. Peptidase activate on what? Polypeptide. Peptidase activate on polypeptide. So what's formed? Amino acids. Sucrase activate on what? Sucrose. So sucrose is a disaccharide. How it is formed? Glucose plus fructose. Next one. Milk consists special sugar lactose. Lactose sugar. So lactose is digested by lactase. So glucose plus galactose. So that's the overall digestion. That's all. Next, we have to know the process of absorption. Then we digest kalani. Now they can be absorbed to blood. How that digestion occurs? කොහොමද digestion එක වෙන්නේ? How that digestion occurs? Okay, good. Finish it writing. Process of absorption. මේ අවශෝෂණ ක්‍රියාවලිය ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් වෙන්නේ small intestine එකේ. The absorption is mainly happens in small intestine. Therefore, the anatomy of the small intestine is, so it is adapted for the absorption. Large intestine, so it absorbs only water. That absorb only moisture. Large intestine එකෙන් absorb කරන්නේ ජලය විතරයි. So all the end products of the food digestion including water, amino acids from carbohydrates, monosaccharides. What are the monosaccharides? Glucose, fructose, galactose. So they are absorbed. And protein digestion create amino acids, so they are absorbed. And by the digestion of lipids, fatty acids, and glycerols. So these things have to be absorbed into the blood. So our small intestine is highly adapted for that. Its anatomy also adapted for that. Right. Okay, take down the process of absorption. අවශෝෂණ ක්‍රියාවලිය. How does the small intestine is how does the small intestine is adapted? Okay, the small intestine is a structure like this. If you cut that, අපි එක කපලා බැලුවොත්, we can see a circular poles inside that. ඔන්න මම මේක කපනවා, right? You can see inside this. ඇතුළ කපලා බලද්දී අපිට පේනවා මේ circular folds. We can see that circular folds inside. So these are circular folds. ඇතුලේ තියෙනවා ඇතුලට නෙරුම්, right? If you cut that longitudinal section, we can see yes, a digestive tract wall. And here's the circular folds. හරියට උණගහේ පුරුක්වල තියෙන්නේ. That's not seen. So this is the cavity. The food is passing through this. So it is projected inwards. So all the parts of the food pellet is touched with that. So these are called circular pods. Over this circular pod, if you take this circular pod, the circular pod consists finger-like projections. They are called what? Willies. These are called willies. Willies. Okay, take down. Small intestine is adapted for the absorption. Small intestine is adapted for the absorption of the end products. Absorption of the end products of food digestion. End products of the food digestion. Then following anatomical features can be seen. Following anatomical features can be seen. පහත ව්‍යුහාත්මක ලක්ෂණ දකින්න පුළුවන්. Anatomical features. Following anatomical features can be seen. Okay, first one, take down anatomical features. Existence of circular folds. Existence of circular folds. Next, take down over the circular folds, willies can be seen. Over the circular folds, willies can be seen. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ හැමතැනම willies තියෙනවා like this willies, right? Willies are coming out. Over the circular folds, willies can be seen. Okay, let's draw a willy. අපි එක willy එකක් අඳිමු. So one willy. Next, take down over the willies, in the columnar epithelial tissue, over the willies on the columnar epithelial tissue. Columnar epithelial tissue. Microvillis can be seen. Microvillis can be seen. So here's the columnar epithelial tissue. Columnar epithelial tissue. Columnar epithelial tissue. The center of that you can see lacteal. So this is connected with the lymphatic system, right? Lacteal එකක් යනවා මැද්දෙන් විලි එක මැද්දෙන්, that's connected to lymphatic system, not directly to the blood, right? So this columnar epithelial tissue consists of columnar cell. මේ columnar cell වල පුතා microvillis තියෙනවා. මම එක වෙනම අඳින්න. So here's a columnar epithelium, right? You know the columnar cells. All of you know that epithelial tissue exists on a basement membrane. So nucleus, So these are the microvillis. Look at this, microvillis. Finally, this absorption surface area is highly increased. So these are microvillis. 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 So columnar epithelial tissue. So what's this overall structure? මේ මොකක්ද මේ? මේ තමයි විලි එකක්. ඉතින් චූටි විලිස්. Right? Inside this, we can see blood capillaries. රුධිරකේශනාලිකා මෙහෙම. Blood capillaries. So that's highly vascularized. Highly vascularized. Blood vessels come, absorb, and go to the heart across the liver. Liver එකට ගිහිල්ලා heart එකට යනවා. So this brings that's blood. So these are blood capillaries. Blood capillaries. So this is the lacteal is connected to lymphatic system. So this is called lacteal. It is connected to lymphatic system. To lymphatic system. කෙටි මතක තියාගන්න. Lacteal absorb. Fatty acids and fatty acids and glycerols. Blood capillaries. Blood capillaries absorb glucose, fructose, galactose. What are them? Monosaccharides, amino acids, water, minerals, vitamins, salts. So all are absorbed by these blood capillaries in this capillary network around the lacteal in villis. Okay, another thing. So being a long track, next adaptation takedown. digestive small intestine එක දිග track එකක්. එතන ප්‍රමාණවත් කාලයක් ලැබෙන අවශෝෂණය කරගන්න. It can get an adequate time to complete its absorption process. Take down. Being a long tube. Small intestine being a long tube. Okay. Explain. ලියාගන්න Being a long tube. Being a long tube. It gets an adequate time. ප්‍රමාණවත් කාලයක්. A sufficient time. It gets an adequate time for the absorption. It gets an adequate time for the absorption. Right. Another one. Being highly vascularized. Being highly vascularized with blood capillaries. Being highly vascularized with blood capillaries. This epithelium is very thin. හරිම ඝනකම අඩු epithelial එකක් තියෙනවා. Next one, take down. Existing very thin epithelial lining. Existing very thin epithelial lining on alveoli. Sorry, on villis, where this alveoli exist. Respiratory tract. Okay, next take down the final one. එක පේලි එළියන්න තියෙන. Function of the large intestine. Large intestine එකේ function එක. Yes. What's the function? The only function. Large intestine. Function of the large intestine. Absorption of what? Okay, take down. The only function of the large intestine is absorption of moisture. Right. එහෙනම් පුතා අපි මෙතනින් නවත්තනවා. Next we have to learn the diseases associated with the digestive system. Then we can learn the next system. So if you like respiratory system, you can do that. If you like that circulatory system, that's okay. Right. I think all of you have taken this down. I think that's clear, right? So I'll upload this video so you can watch it later if there's a doubt with that. Right. If you have any question associated with this, you can ask now. How did you get it? Could you understand clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is my request. Keep that enzymatic reactions in your mind. What happens in mouth? What happens in stomach? What happens in duodenum? What happens in small intestine? So in small intestine, what are the 4 enzymes? To maltose, maltase. For sucrose, sucrase. For for polypeptides, peptidase. Right? So likewise, you have to keep them in your mind. Right. I hope you will study that. So thank you so much for the participation. Namuda, have a nice night. Everyone, Saranai. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. There was
Yes,
a
I
nice
will. Yes.